Okay, and for study goal number 19, excuse me, for study goal number 19, I'd like to talk about this diagram a little bit more, okay? Sunlight coming in, heat is radiated. Some of that heat gets out, some of that heat is kept in because greenhouse gases absorb that heat and then bounce it back to the earth later. Oops, sorry. Remember that the heat that escapes is sort of like the window being down in your car. So vocab term, it's called the atmospheric window. That's the idea that our atmosphere lets some of the heat out. So some of the heat rising off the earth does not strike greenhouse gases, and so that heat goes out to space. That's the 70% you see on this screen. That's the atmospheric window, how much heat is shooting out to space. Now, some of the heat is absorbed by greenhouse gases. Remember, it destabilizes their bonds. And then when those bonds restabilize, that's going to re-release that heat again. That's the amount that we trap. That's like a greenhouse, right? Where some of the heat is kept in, and so your greenhouse doesn't cool off at night. That's the 30% you see here being reflected back to the earth. It's called a greenhouse effect because, like a greenhouse, we let some light in and we let some of the heat out, but we keep some of the heat. This gives us warm and stable temperatures. That's nice. Let's be clear, the greenhouse effect is not a bad thing. Mars gets 300 degrees in the daytime and negative 200 at night because all the sunlight gets in, so it gets extremely hot, 300 degrees in the daytime. And then at night, when you're in the shade, all of that heat escapes to space and you plummet temperatures extremely cold, negative 200. So Mars does not have a greenhouse effect. None of the light is filtered, none of the heat is stored, right? And so our planet actually only has life because of our greenhouse effect. That's why we often say that water is a requirement for life to occur on other planets. Because water vapor does that greenhouse trick in the atmosphere to get rid of some of the light and trap some of the heat. Greenhouse effect is not a bad thing. What's interesting is the gases which do that heat capture can also be generated by human activities. So we can add more greenhouse gases. We can increase the amount of heat that can be stored in the atmosphere and thrown back down to the earth. We can roll up the window in our parked car. And so human activity by adding more greenhouse gases can make our planet hotter. Super basic. I'm going to stop.